Why do you make excuses for the Republican Party? Why don't you just say, okay, Brian, you're right. Republicans haven't done anything on this issue. Let's go to X. X is next up on PTL. Hello, X. What's on your mind today? Hi, X.
How are you doing today?
Good. What's on your mind today?
About that guy, is his name Leonard or what's his name?
I'm sorry. Who's
like a really good guy?
Who, me?
Leonard? Yeah, Leonard's my co-host today. So, X, what do you think about what's on your mind today? What do you think about this shooting?
It sucks. Regardless of what the gender is, regardless of their political affiliation, it's terrible.
So let's not get political, but what have Republicans done? I mean, I don't think this is political. I mean, what are some of the solutions that some Republicans have? Can you name me one logical solution that Republicans have come up with in the last 25 years to lower gun violence? Because I could list you about 20 things that Democrats have been trying to do. Can you name me one?
Not an expert, on passing legislation, guns and stuff like that. I think what's his name, David Hogg, is more specialized in questions like that.
Okay, so you've called. Okay, but X, I understand, but we're talking about this horrible shooting. I'm sure you would agree. I agree with you. It sucks. It's terrible, and it's horrible. Innocent children losing their lives. It's horrible. You've said that you've thought Donald Trump has done a quote okay job. Can you please tell me what Donald Trump has done? What has Donald Trump done in regards to gun control issues? Not just in the first 7 months of this administration, but in his first administration. What has he done to address the gun violence in this country to make things safer for you and me?
When it comes to guns, I'm not 100% sure what anybody has done.
The reason why, okay, but the reason why you're not, okay, well, let me just inform you on this. Donald Trump has done nothing. After the Las Vegas shooting, where over 60 people lost their lives, he wanted to ban bump stocks. And then he had a meeting with the leader of the NRA, and then he changed his tune on that. Let me tell you, there's one party that brags about their A+ rating from the NRA. Those are called Republicans. There's another party, and Joe Biden put together the most comprehensive gun control bipartisan laws in the books in decades. Now, it wasn't enough because Republicans refused to do anything about this. The Democrats are the party that want to change the age to 18 to 21. They want an assault weapons ban back on the table. They want to get rid of these weapons of war. They want.
You have a trifecta?
Can I add?
Wait, hold on. What do you mean trifecta? What do you mean?
Couldn't he have, Congress? If he was in power, then why couldn't he do it?
But Republicans are controlling the House and the Senate, just like when Barack Obama was president after the Sandy Hook shooting, he couldn't pass anything. There's one party.
That's not possible. Maybe the House, after the midterms, but
no, that's what's going on right now in Washington, D.C. Democrats aren't in power. Why do you make
even
excuses?
Back then, they impeached Trump and they couldn't get him prosecuted in the Senate because they didn't have the Senate.
Why do you make excuses for the Republican Party? Why don't you just say, okay, Brian, you're right. Republicans haven't done anything on this issue. They have blood on their hands.
And not going to.
Why do you make excuses? Why don't you say, Brian, you're right? Why is it always a but?
I'm not saying but I'm just saying, when he was the president, he had the House and the Senate. And then in the midterms, he lost the House.
Started a sentence with but. I just want to point that out.
You just started a sentence with but. Why don't you just admit that Republicans have blood on their hands and they want to put more guns on the streets? They pass bills to do so. They refuse comprehensive background checks and logical gun laws that would be put on the table. They've done nothing. Why, instead of saying but, starting a sentence with a but, why can't you say, Brian, you're right about that. Republicans have not done enough.
That topic. You brought that topic up. That wasn't even what I wanted to talk about. I'm not even an expert on that. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Well, clearly we agree on that.
Whatever you decide, whatever the experts decide, whatever.
Who are the experts?
You don't have to be an expert to know.
Why do you have to be an expert?
That there's too many guns. You don't need to be an expert to know that shooting children praying in a Catholic school is wrong. You don't need experts to tell you that's wrong, and you don't need experts to tell you that we need to do something about it. No expert needs to come and say, oh, by the way, we need to do something about this. What Brian is asking you is do you have one clear idea? Does any MAGA, does any Republican, conservative Republican, have any good ideas on this? Have they brought up any legislation?
Anybody anybody is more informed, regardless of the party, than me.
So you're saying, hold on a second. Hold on a second. We have just about more guns than any country in the world. 140 guns per 100 people. We also have top 3 worst gun violence in the world. Do you think those two are correlated? And by the way, I don't think you need to be an expert to answer this question. I think you have to have an IQ over 20, maybe 10. Do you think there might be a correlation between the amount of guns we have in this country and the gun violence? Do you think there's a correlation there? Yes or no?
What do you want me to answer? What do you want me to say?
I want you to answer the question in the way you want to answer it. Do you think there's a correlation between the amount of guns we have in this country and the gun violence? Yes or no?
It's possible.
It's possible. Hold on a second.
Like,
hold on a second. Hold on a second. Let's just rewind, X. Hold on. Hold on.
Hold
on. X. Let me repeat that.
I'm not informed on this subject.
Okay, so
I'm not informed on
so
this
let's
subject.
try this one more time. We have more guns than people in this country, more guns than almost any other country in the world, and the most violence when it comes to guns than just about any other country in the world. And you're not willing to say, yes, they're correlated? You say it's possible. I guess it's
possible, man.
I guess it's possible that you could be a porn star too. It's possible.
And the earth could be flat.
I mean, the earth could be flat. I guess that's possible.
You're trying to get into like, personal assault.
No, yes, I am, because
you're not even asking for critical thinking.
It's not that you're not informed on this issue. It's that you're not informed, period. I'm going to get personal on you. You call into a radio show. We're talking about the school shooting that happened in Minneapolis, and you won't answer the most basic of questions. We have more gun violence than almost any country in the world because we have more guns than almost any country in the world. Not only do you not have to be an expert to know that, but you have to have an IQ and common sense and an IQ over 20. I'm sorry if you think I'm getting too personal with you. You're the one that decided to call into this show, and you're making yourself sound very ignorant, sir. I appreciate the phone call.
Are we talking about peace?
Do you understand?
Are we moving towards hopefully peace?
Do you understand?
Or are we just
let me explain to you.
To bomb each
let me
other?
explain to you. All right, let's go to Mohammed. Mohammed is next up on PTL. Hello, Mohammed.
Hey, how are you, sir?
Good.
All right. So here's my, I guess, challenge with the topic in your position is, so why do you feel like we as the United States get to dictate to the rest of the world what the resolution should be? We're just brokering the meeting and trying to get to an end or a ceasefire, to the war.
When did I say
they
that?
Don't need to agree.
When did I say that?
You're saying that I'm not saying that that's your exact words. Here's what I'm saying. That the United States is somehow capitulating and giving Russia everything they wanted. That's not the case. You have two countries at war, right? One of them's going to have to agree to something, and the other one's going to have to agree to something. We're just middling ourselves to help broker a ceasefire.
Okay, so hold on. You think
we don't get to tell? Well, hold on. Let me finish my point, though. So we don't get to tell Putin, here's what you're going to get, and you're going to give back territory, and you're going to peel back. He doesn't need to agree with us on anything. He doesn't even need to agree to an end of the war. At least he's agreed to talks. That in itself is an accomplishment. But you're so hell-bent on Donald Trump.
Wait, hold on a second. All right. Okay, now I'm going to speak.
You give him credit for nothing.
Now I'm going to speak. You think I should give Donald Trump credit, and you sound like a Trump supporter, by the way. You think I should give Donald Trump credit for rolling out the red carpet for Vladimir Putin. No sanctions on Russia. He's the one who campaigned on the war is going to end in 24 hours. You MAGA supporters seem to have Alzheimer's. You must be forgetful in the bunker, Mohammed. But Donald Trump is the guy who said he would end the war in 24 hours. We're now in month 7 of Donald Trump's administration. And you think that I should give Donald Trump credit for getting absolutely nothing accomplished on Friday, but rolling out the red carpet for an evil dictator, not answering questions, not taking questions from members of the media, coddling to Vladimir Putin. And you think I should sit here and give credit to Donald Trump? Did you give credit to Joe Biden when he met with Putin and he stood up to Putin and he called him a dictator?
I gave him all the credit in the world.
Please. I don't believe that.
Starting on his watch.
I don't believe that. You give him. Okay, so what did Biden do? So what did Biden do to start this war? Tell me, Mohammed. What did he do?
Well, actually, he did nothing because he wasn't really the president.
Okay.
He really wasn't the president.
That's not an answer, Mohammed. That's a nice trying to bow out. You just blamed Joe. You just blamed Joe Biden for this war.
Being an invalid, yeah.
What did he do?
Basically, He was an invalid, and he was sitting at the head of the free world and not doing anything and letting people around him run the country and make decisions.
And what evidence?
Give pardons and do all the other shit.
And what evidence do you have that he did nothing?
What evidence do you have that he did something?
Well, I could say that he didn't give.
Okay. Nothing.
Here's what I'll. No, it's not. No, it's not. Here's what I'll tell you. What Joe Biden. Joe Biden didn't send Vladimir Putin COVID test kits in the middle of COVID. Joe Biden never blamed Zelensky for this war. Joe Biden didn't call Vladimir Zelensky a dictator. Joe Biden is the guy that didn't praise Vladimir Putin and call him smart and call him intelligent. Joe Biden isn't the guy that said, Zelensky, it's up to him to end this war, to give up land.
Okay. Who brokered, and I don't even give Donald Trump the credit. I give Marco Rubio the credit.
For what?
Really. But
for what?
I'm about to tell you who got him on a plane and got him to come and at least talk about what it's going to take to bring peace. Was that Trump and his administration?
So you think that's a positive, to roll out the red carpet and get nothing in return? You think that's a good thing?
Listen. So what did it cost us to roll out the red carpet? Are we talking about peace?
Do you understand?
Are we moving towards hopefully peace?
Do you understand?
Or are we just
let me explain to you. Let me explain to you what I'm talking about. First of all, this has nothing to do right now with cost. The conversation we're having. People like you attacked Barack Obama for giving a quick head nod bow to members in Saudi Arabia. Do you remember that? All the criticism that
who's bringing up Obama? Nobody.
I'm bringing it up. The reason why I'm bringing it up is because you want to praise. Imagine for a moment if Joe Biden imagine for a moment, because you won't criticize Donald Trump. Imagine if Barack Obama or Joe Biden invited Vladimir Putin and rolled out the red carpet for him in America and didn't answer any questions in a press conference and then put all the pressure on our allies and Zelensky. You would be screaming to high heaven, and Fox News would be criticizing Obama or Biden till the cows come home. But somehow we're supposed to give him a Nobel Peace Prize? Muhammad, you sound ridiculous.
That's not. Nobody mentioned a Nobel Peace Prize.
Oh yes, yes. Plenty of people have on the right. Yes, they have.
Well, I have it, and
including Benjamin Netanyahu.
You're just throwing extra wood on the fire unnecessarily at this point. What I'm saying to you is, there is progress. Whether it's enough for you or not, there is progress. But you are so deluded in your thinking that everything Trump does is so bad. It's not necessarily.
What has he done good?
Trump.
What has he done good?
He brought Putin to the U.S.
He rolled out, and what did we get out of that? And what did we get?
How to bring peace.
And how did that work out?
It's only been one meeting.
I thought he could end the war in 24 hours. I thought he could end the war in 24 hours. Has it been 24 hours?
Oh, again. You're taking. Did he bluster and throw out remarks that were clearly unrealistic? Yes. I'm not saying he didn't. What I am saying to you is he is at least moved the ball forward.
How?
To some degree, by getting him to come and let's at least understand what it's going to take to bring peace. What are your expectations?
And you know what that is? You want me to give Donald Trump credit for basically giving in to Putin and Putin demanding Crimea.
What did he give him? Did he give him anything?
I'll tell you.
Putin walk away?
I'll tell you.
Get back on the plane.
Putin walked away.
I'm going to get everything I want.
Putin walked away happy. You want to know why? Because Russia's not being punished for this. Putin's not being punished for this. And they're going to get what they want ultimately, which is land that they don't own.
You don't know that.
Oh, really? You think Putin's just going to... So you think the war is just going to end and Putin's going to wave the white flag? Are you crazy? Are you crazy?
Nobody said that. You're putting words in my mouth.
So what are the sanctions? What are the sanctions on Russia? Name me one.
Nothing has been determined
nothing.
Yet.
It's right, exactly. But you want to give him credit for doing absolutely nothing.
Okay. Here's what they do have. They have directly from Putin, here's what my expectations are. Now they're going to go to Zelensky and say, here's what Zelensky is then going to say, here's what's acceptable and here's what is not.
Mohammed,
and then they're going to try to broker somewhere in the middle.
Stop. Mohammed, who do you want to win this war? Mohammed, who do you want to win this war?
Nobody is going to win because it's a war. There's
Mohammed,
no such thing as
Mohammed, who do you want? Yeah, not true.
All lost.
Who do you want to win?
How many Russians have died, Brian? How many Russians have died?
For you to say that they all lost.
How many? Okay, forget.
If Vladimir, hold on a second.
Refuse to answer anybody else's question.
Hold on a second.
How many Russians?
You
have
just
died?
said nobody can win this war. If Vladimir Putin ends up taking over Ukraine, you don't think that's a win?
Not what I said. Correction. That's not what I said. I said no one wins in war.
That's not true.
Nobody's going to win.
That's not true. 100% wrong.
How many Russians have died?
I'm going to be. It doesn't matter. The point I'm trying to make here.
It does, because you're trying to make it.
No.
Putin is going to win.
Why did Putin invade?
He's not going to win.
Why did Putin invade Ukraine?
Because he wants territory, and he wants.
And if he gets territory, are
going to benefit Russia.
And if he does, and if he gets territory, you don't think that's a win for Vladimir Putin?
I do. You think it's a win?
There you go. Hey, ding, 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 ding. There you go. Have a nice day, Muhammad. No, you blew it. Have a nice day. You just made my point for me, Muhammad, who obviously is a MAGA supporter. Vladimir Putin, now I'm going to speak very slowly and distinctly for my MAGA friends out there. Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine. It's a win for Vladimir Putin if he gets land that doesn't or isn't owned by Russia. Muhammad just admitted that. That's why I say we, and I mean we by the United States, Ukraine, and all these NATO allies, need to make sure that Putin doesn't win this war. Why? It's dangerous for the world. Why is it dangerous for the world? Because if Putin is rewarded in any way, shape, or form for withdrawing troops and ending the war, he will then do it somewhere else. Could be Poland, could be Taiwan. That's why we have to make sure that Russia doesn't win this war. Why is that so hard for people like you to understand? Muhammad, stop watching your Newsmax and OAN and pay attention.
He might be.
He might be. Okay. So it's okay to deploy the National Guard if you think that the numbers are askew with no direct evidence to prove that. You're totally okay with the National Guard being called out.
I just want to talk to you about a few things here. Mainly this DC thing. And I want to preface this with, I don't necessarily agree with the deploying of the National Guard there. But I think there's a lot of stuff that's not being said about that. And you've been saying stuff about this 28% reduction. And are you getting that number from the DC Metro website? I think I saw something similar to what you were saying.
Yeah, it's also the Federal Bureau of Investigations. You can look up that information on their website as well. Are you saying that they're lying?
I'm not saying that they're lying, but I mean, from what I saw, then that had similar numbers to what you're saying. Mm-hmm. It compares the numbers of last year, a full year, 12 months, to 2025 to date, which is, we're only about 3/4 of the way through the year. So it kind of makes sense that it's
okay. So even if that is the
26.
case, what's the excuse for bringing in the National Guard?
I mean, I didn't say, I'm not making an excuse for bringing it in. I think a lot of people are concerned about crime.
Everybody's concerned. Everybody's concerned about crime. That's not an excuse to bring in the National Guard.
I mean, I think it is.
So you think that the National Guard should be put in place if you think there's too much crime in your city? Is that what you're saying?
Why else would you call them in?
The National Guard is not brought into certain situations if there's crime, shopliftings, DUIs. That's not what the National Guard is. The National Guard is called in as an emergency situation and as a last resort, like something that took place on January 6th, when police officers are overwhelmed and they're desperate and they need help. That is not what's going on in DC. That is not what's going on in many cities across the country. And Donald Trump is lying. Crime is down in DC. That is the bottom line. Any way you slice it, crime is down. The police officers are not overwhelmed and they haven't asked for extra help. That is why you call the National Guard in.
You take those crime statistics reported by the DC police at face value.
Do I think the crime statistics being put forth by the police at face value? Why are you not addressing? First of all, I have no reason to believe they're lying Second of all crimes are reported.
Hang on. You've no reason to believe they're lying, but did you know that their police commissioner got suspended under suspicion of inflating numbers to make them look better?
But the FBI, Kash Patel yesterday.
Kash Patel just said in a press conference, as Anna
Yesterday.
was saying, that crime is way down in D.C. So I guess Kash Patel's lying too, isn't he?
He might be.
He might be. Okay. So it's okay to deploy the National Guard if you think that the numbers are askew with no direct evidence to prove that. You're totally okay with the National Guard being called out.
I think if you want to get crime under control, you show people who are committing crimes that there is not going to be tolerated.
Isn't that what local law enforcement is for, sir? And why didn't he call in the National Guard then on January 6th?
I agree. He should have.
He should have. Yeah. Well, who were they blaming? They were blaming Nancy Pelosi, right?
I mean, I don't know if she had the power to do it. I don't know.
You don't know if she had the power to do it. All right. I appreciate the call, sir. Thank you very much. Dan, Nancy Pelosi had nothing to do with what happened on January 6th. You don't know what you're talking about. Absolutely, Donald Trump should have called the National Guard on January 6th. Okay, that was an insurrection. There's not an insurrection going on in D.C., at least not right now. I appreciate the call.